Hi,
Good evening.
Andy.
Good evening, Melanie. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm having a bit of PTSD
Are you? Why are you having PTSD?
because this Sunday is Michael and All Angels.
It is indeed. So why is that causing you PTSD?
Do you not remember college?
No,
It's all out of you for your own mental health.
must have done. Why? What happened
It
at
was
college?
it was Michael and All Angels was the first kind of festival celebration service that we had to do, and I was
Right,
picked to be an acolyte.
right.
Um, and I can remember standing there in an owl with holding the candle. I had my hair in two plaits like this, being absolutely terrified. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And of course, nobody
Uh-huh.
was really that helpful because they thought I should know all of that sort of stuff. And of course, it's not in my background. So I
Right.
didn't know what I was doing. I was terrified. You were there.
So in Lampeter on Sunday, you're going to be doing the same thing this year?
No.
No.
But we will have to look at the readings for Michael and All Angel, I think, because they're there for the day.
It's terrible, isn't it? Isn't it terrible? Who decided that? Some crusty old bod 500 years ago sat in some cold, miserable library, decided, I know, we'll mess everything up and we'll shove St. Michael there.
Well, I could live that, but actually, it's really important that we look at it because it tells us something about our situation today. So, are you going to be preaching on it?
I'm going to be preaching on that Sunday in some shape, form. So
Um,
what you
Will you be
said,
preaching it?
I'll be preaching on the readings I'm given for wherever I am. So I would guess so. Yeah. You were saying, Melanie, that it speaks into our context today. What in particular would you say speaks into our context today?
Well, I think the um, the situation we face in our world, especially for Christians, the persecution that's happening around the world, the heavy persecution in places, but also the way Christians in the West now, Orthodox Bible believing Christians in the West now, are
Hmm.
also coming under fire. You're like, well, why are these things happening?
Yeah,
Well, we've got an answer here in the text as to
exactly.
what exactly is going on.
Yeah, yeah. That's important to understand, isn't it, with Revelation 12, to understand the context that John is writing to, or is when he's had his vision and he's writing it down to know that context. And then that makes it much more relevant.
Yeah, I think it really does because I think people today in general have lost a sense of there being a supernatural realm.
Yeah.
Everything is what we see and what we can touch. I mean, people dabble with it, don't they? Like for Halloween and things. People like to be scared. They like to tell each other ghost stories
Hmm.
and dress up, but they don't actually, I think, believe it's real. Because I think if they believed that there was another realm, they wouldn't be messing with it in such a jokey way
Yeah.
because they'd realize the significance and the seriousness of it. So I think people have lost that. I think as Christians, we've also kind of gone with our culture and have generally lost a sense of there being more than we can see and
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
and touch.
Yeah. So how's that going to play into your sermon?
Well, I think what's interesting is the other two readings kind of also send that message because you've got the Genesis reading, you've got the whole Jacob's ladder thing, which
Hmm.
is a revelation, isn't it? It's God revealing something to Jacob about himself. And you got the stairway going up to heaven with the angels going up and down on it. It's like God's given him a glimpse. And then when Jesus is talking to Nathaniel, well, he says, actually, I'm that ladder. It's the same, it's exactly the same picture, but Jesus is the ladder, Jesus is the way to heaven.
Yeah.
But both of them are a revelation in their own way because we
Yeah.
don't see the other realm, the other the spiritual, supernatural side of things by our own eyes. We need to
Hmm.
be shown that it's there.
Hmm.
And so they both do that. And then Revelation 12, you've got the whole thing, what was going on in heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Interestingly, there, Melanie, you use the past tense. Do you think the past tense is the right tense?
Past tense for what now?
You said Revelation shows what was going on there. Yeah, that was what you said. And I wonder whether Revelation shows us what is going on there. This is happening now. It's not past tense. This is now. But as you've just said, um, we don't see it. So if
Well,
you were in heaven,
I
if you
think
were,
you've got past and present going on and
ah,
future all happening at the same time in that bit from Revelation, don't you?
well, I just think it's continuous,
Well, it can
because we've,
only be it can only be cast down out of heaven once.
well, yeah, in a human time frame, but we're not talking a human time frame, are we? We're talking an eternal time frame. We're actually talking something outside of time. So whether it happened in the past, in the present, in the future, in our understanding, in God's understanding, it's happened and it's continually happening.
I suppose God is outside of the our sort of linear time frame, isn't he? So actually anything that happens in the spiritual realm is kind of neither past, present, or future, but we can't really get our heads around that so much, can we? And how we experience it is also in a linear way. So there was a point when there was uh, Satan was thrown out of heaven because
Yeah.
he's now roaming the earth, and that's what's happening here, isn't it? That's the bit that we're being shown
Hmm.
is what that that the devil was there, and he was accusing the believers before God, and there was the battle in heaven, and he was thrown down and roams the earth, but his time is short.
Yeah.
And that's what we're experiencing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's roaming around.
And that gives us a tremendous assurance as well, though, doesn't it? It's a really reassuring passage, Revelation 12, once you start to think about it. So you've already said about Satan being thrown out of heaven. So Satan can't stand as our accuser there because of the cross. It shows us much more fully the extent of what Jesus did for us on the cross, but also your phrase at the very end about a short time. So, however long and arduous and difficult it seems to us, in the span of all eternity, it's just going to be a very short time. And the suffering that you're going through now, and the persecution you're going through now, is going to come to an end.
But that persecution in itself is evidence, isn't it? It's evidence that Jesus rules in heaven and that Satan's been cast down to here.
Yeah,
Just that very persecution shows that this is true. I just wish they'd given us a bit more of Revelation 12
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because the verses before it
yeah,
are really important, aren't they? Because you get the child being born, so
yeah.
you've got Jesus being born, and you've got him being snatched up to heaven, and then Satan being hurled down, and those two are paired.
Which is really interesting with timescales. Is that referring to the ascension?
Maybe
Yeah, don't know, but I
it would
just
make
wondered.
sense to be, wouldn't it? Because that's when he was taken back up.
Yeah, but who knows? I mean, the assuring thing is that, as you said, it shows that Jesus has triumphed and that Satan can no longer accuse us in heaven, albeit for now he's going to make our life tough.
I love the fact that you've got you've got Michael and his angels fighting Satan and his angels and
Yeah,
winning, but you've also got the our comrades, as it's got in the NRSV. So Christians then also conquering, And it's how they conquer, isn't it? By the blood of the Lamb and by the
Yeah.
word of their testimony.
Yeah.
Those are the two things, the blood of the Lamb, so the cross of Christ,
Hmm.
and their testimony to what Jesus has done, their ownership of it, that this is for them and it's a part of it and sharing it with others. It's a
It's their witness, their obedience, their lifestyle. So the cross, and in a response, our lifestyle is what defeats Satan, and our faithfulness defeats Satan. Yeah.
but it's more than our lifestyle. It's that taking on of the cross, isn't it? Jesus, that death on the cross was for me. It's a personalizing of it and then a living out of it.
Mm. Yeah.
Because otherwise it opens the door to universalism, doesn't it? If it's the cross of Christ full stop,
But it
then
isn't the
then
cross
you're
of
getting
Christ, full
into
stop.
no, that's what I'm saying. But if it was, that would be universalism, but it's not.
No. And that's not what John says, is it?
No,
Good.
that's why the two things are paired.
Yes, I know.
Which is making it clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once I think anybody would be led down the garden path.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And then what's our response to that to be?
Response to what now?
The triumph of Jesus over Satan and Satan being cast down. So, amidst the suffering, what does he say in verse 12? Rejoice, you heavens. And
Rejoice.
yeah. And we
But
know from
also,
elsewhere in Revelation that that's what heaven is like, around the throne, um, praising God.
yeah, but also the people, the Christians, did not cling to life even in the face of death. So there's that willingness to go to the cross, like we were, there is a connection here to what we've been doing in Mark, isn't there? Take up your cross and follow me. And this in a sense is people who did that in a very real way,
Yeah. Yeah.
who conquered. So actually I think there's a lot to be said about it. It's an important passage. I have to get over my PTSD.
You will. You will. You'll have to forget St. Michael's.
Oh, I've tried, believe you me.
Right here. Can you remember the sermon?
No. It was
All
probably
right.
rubbish anyway, wasn't it?
So you can remember the processional and the ceremony, but you can't remember the sermon.
Because I was traumatized by it.
Right. Okay.
Because I think everybody was bowing, and I think I nearly burnt my hair. And then I think somebody stopped to genuflect, and I nearly fell over them.
Yes.
I don't know what was going on.
Wonderful.
But I know I wasn't thinking or led to think about um how this helps us understand present suffering.
Okay.
I
Well, in
was in
fact,
some suffering.
well, so long as you didn't burn your hair,
Well, I think I nearly did. But that has happened though.
you could have set the whole college chapel on fire if you'd done that.
Oh no, that would have been have an impact, wouldn't it?
It would
Anyway,
have.
you're not like to set your hair on, are you?
I hope you're not being rude, Melanie. Anyway, I hope you have fun preaching on it.
Thank you,
I'll,
and you.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.